This is a 100-pound propane bottle. Weighs about 170 pounds. This is a Kubota 900. The challenge is to use the Kubota 900 to move a couple of these at a time. Let's figure this out. As you know, I used to own a campground, and it was open year-round, and a buddy of mine owns a campground, and it's open year-round. Mine was kind of small. His is pretty big. I think it's about a quarter mile from his propane tank to, no, it may actually be farther than that. Anyway, it's a haul. We were both open year-round. He's still open year-round, and long-term guests use these 100-pound bottles. So you have to go over, you have to get them, you have to fill them, or go get them, bring them back to the propane station, fill them and take them back. It's not easy to do. You think, well, you just grab a dolly, you throw it on the dolly. Because they have liquid in them, and they're heavy and they're solid, and they're curved. You put them on a dolly, you're moving them over potholes and stuff, and any little thing, and these can easily roll off, which means you're going to try to grab it, which means someone can get hurt. Well, Mike came to me and he said, hey, since we have identical Kubotas, and we have, they both have dump beds on them, it would be nice if my dump bed could pick up a couple of these and take them over, get them filled and bring them back. So there's the challenge. I'm going to break this down into basically three sections. I'm going to get some commercially available dollies. I'm going to modify them to actually hold the propane bottle, and then I'm going to make a cradle that holds the dolly, and then I'm going to make a bed frame that attaches to the bed without doing a bunch of modifications to the Kubota. If we don't have to modify, we're not going to modify it. I'm going to try to use, there's some D-rings in the back, I want to use those D-rings. So with all that being said, let's get to work on the dolly first. Here's a close-up of the strap that I put in, and it's top and bottom to hold it to the frame. Now this down tube here, if you go down to the bottom, down here, I had to kick it out because it actually tapered in and then the bottle hit on it, and it wouldn't register. The whole bottom here wouldn't register in this part of the chassis. So anyway, I got that fixed. Simple design. And again, it's ambidextrous, it's left, right, and it's really makes moving these bottles stable. Okay, like I said, this is the first sub-assembly and I've made 2 of them. I got the other one ready to go. The next thing I'm going to make is, there's no names for these, so the next thing I'm going to make is a frame here that this will index into and hold this assembly. That will be welded onto a frame that gets attached to the back of the Kubota. So there's the Kubota bed frame, there's the cradle that's going to hold this and this. So this is done. The next thing, for lack of calling it anything else, this will be the dolly, then it'll be the cradle, and then it'll be the bed frame. So let's get on to the cradle. Well, I completed the cradle, and even though it looks very simple, it took me a few iterations and a few changes to get it to look this simple. So down at the bottom, and I showed you the video of it coming in, down at the bottom, it's got these little tabs right here that grab the back of the dolly right back there and there. So it grabs the back of the dolly there. And then of course up top here, this arm swings down and grabs the top of the bottle. Very simple. Now this is going to be welded to the frame that gets mounted in the back of the Kubota. So that's the next step. So we've completed the dolly, which is the first subassembly. This is the second subassembly, and then we'll do the bed frame. And then the bed frame and the cradle, you know, I've been thinking about welding them, but what I may wind up doing is pinning them. That way they can come apart in sections. So let's get back to work. So Mike, the owner of the Kubota here, and this is actually his Kubota now, just stopped by. We had two challenges that we need to resolve, and texting back and forth, it's just not cutting it. So he showed up here, he dropped his Kubota off, and let me go over the challenges first. One, the straps didn't work. We wanted to come up with a design that doesn't affect the bed, that is user-proof. In other words, no bolts and nuts that have to be tightened a certain way. Everything's pinned. So what we've come up with is we're adding a piece of unistrut here and a piece of unistrut up here, and we're attaching it with pins to the 4 D-rings, the 4 hold-down rings in the back of the bed. That way, as long as the pins are in place and clipped, we're done. You don't have to adjust it, you don't have to tighten it, you don't have to do any of that. So that resolved that issue. The next issue was bed creep. It's a hydraulic cylinder, and we've got so much weight hanging off the back of the bed that it would slowly creep back up. I mean, it would take a while, but it's not good on the equipment. So we've come up with an arm that'll attach to the top of the roll cage and come over here to a brace. That brace is located right above the cylinder, the hydraulic cylinder. So if it's activated with, if the cylinder is activated with the brace in place, it won't bend the bed. It won't tweak the bed if you're holding it at the corners. So it'll push, the cylinder will push straight up onto this, and it'll push straight up on the top of the roll cage. So I think we got that resolved. Okay, we're on the home stretch here, so let's get back to work.
this has been fun. It's been a long time since I've built something like well, I've never built anything like this, but since I built something, and it really was a lot of fun. I had a good time doing it. What is it? This is a Kubota 900. There's a billion of them out there, and it's my buddy's. He owns a campground, and in the wintertime he has to move propane bottles around, full ones. They're called 100-pounders, but they're actually 170 pounds each. So to get them from a quarter mile away on his campground to the propane fill station, fill them and take them back, it's hard on equipment, and it's hard on staff, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Hopefully with what we have here, it'll make it a little bit easier. He can drive out there, you take a dolly off, you go up, you get it, because of course they're not right at the end of their site. The dollies themselves have got brackets on it to hold it, makes it very stable. That was one of the issues I always had with moving propane bottles around. I had a dolly, but it didn't have brackets on it to hold it. So this will make that easier. You bring it over here, it engages in the cradle here, and then when you close the bed, it'll pick two of them up. The bed is rated for 1,000 pounds. The cylinder is rated for 1,000 pounds. We got maybe 500, 600 at the most on it. But it bleeds down real slow. So I added this strut rod here, and this here is the only modification to the unit. Is welding on a little bracket up there, two little brackets up there. The rest of it, it just clips into the D-rings. It rattles a bit, but you know, it's a diesel, so how quiet is it? You know what I mean? Anyway, is it perfect? No. Are there some things that I'd change? Yeah, now that I've done it once, of course I'd go back and change it. But let's let Mike use it for a while. Then he'll come back with his suggestions for change. We'll make some updates and we'll put it back in the field. It's not perfect, but we made progress. Thanks for watching.